Now, efficiency. I mean, you are, if I was to try and summarize you in a word, I'd say efficiency. So, I mean, in terms of you lifting, how you talk, everything.
I wouldn't say my talking's efficient. I ramble.
No, it is actually fairly efficient. He doesn't, there's no manners. He doesn't let things like, niceties get in the way of efficiency. So the efficiency, the difference between bodybuilding and powerlifting is bodybuilding is deliberate inefficiency.
Yes.
A lot of the time.
Like, ideally, that's the thing. It's how you how the body works itself. When you're trying to make a muscle grow, you cause muscle damage, things break down, then they have to repair, they get bigger and stronger. If you become really, really efficient at a movement, you're going to do very little damage to anything because you're very good at it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you can get around that with sort of loading patterns that you're not going to grow anymore, you're not going to get bigger if that's your goal. But you can change things. You don't necessarily just have to keep loading more weight to get bigger and stronger. That's inefficient.
Yeah, no, exactly right.
You can do things different. You can change the tempo. You can change the amount of tension you have, so the duration of each sort of rep.
Yeah, time under load.
Yep. You can change all sorts of sort of variables there that aren't the load itself to become more inefficient. You're making things harder than they necessarily need to be because you're going to cause more muscular breakdown.
Yep.
So things are going to grow, it's going to be easier. But the plus side of that is with most of these techniques, it takes a lot of stress off the joints. It takes off your joints, off ligaments, tendons, things like that, so it keeps you healthier. It keeps you being able to move freely as long as you sort of maintain your ranges of motion.
That is massive. Yes. Another thing we've been talking about today is you were talking about how important that range of motion is. And this isn't, when most people are talking about range of motion, when you're talking about bodybuilders and everything, they're talking about bringing the bar to the chest, or talking about full extension for biceps and stuff.
Yeah.
But interestingly, that's not just the case. We're also talking about deadlifts.
Yes.
Full range of motion. And can you talk a bit about what the full range of motion in our trunk is for deadlifts? Because I think that's a very interesting point that a lot of people are too scared of.
Yeah, well, everyone gets really, really sort of scared about sort of lumbar flexion or your spine rounding when you're deadlifting, which, yes, if you see someone that doesn't really look like they know what they're doing, or they're sort of new, something like that, and they suddenly look like the Sydney Harbour Bridge when they're lifting, that is an issue. That's a thing that probably shouldn't happen there. Maybe need to learn a thing or two. But your spine always has a certain amount of flexion and extension capabilities, which includes your lower back, your lumbar. If it is constantly because of, a paralysis, a fear of being able to flex over, if it's constantly locked straight, then if, say, you're going to go for something heavier and it suddenly gets forced into that flex range over, that's how you're going to get hurt. It's not from that happening by itself,
day-to-day training.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. It's unless it's sort of like a chronic thing and it's always aching, you keep doing it, then you're probably an idiot. But if you're constantly in a certain position and you're under load, even not under load, but you suddenly get forced outside of that range that you are constantly in, something's going to give way.
And that is going to happen.
It's going to. That's what happens.
You will guarantee it. I mean, you can look at anything. If you look at a crane, for example, when it is trying to pick up closer to its maximum load, it doesn't matter how well that's built, there's going to be some flexion. Look at the bar in the gym.
Yeah.
When you are trying to pick up the bar and you've got 300 kilos on that bar,
doesn't matter what the load rating is on it, it's going to bend.
It's going to bend.
That's what happens.
So, is your back made of steel deliberately designed to lift these weights? No. Should you expect there to be a little bit of motion in there?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, absolutely.